When Steve Jobs hired, he looked for diversity. You need to come up with a challenging process that represents the job that they are getting into. The final thing that you do, and after that, I'll be sharing with you the number one mistakes that people make. Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about the exact 6 steps that Steve Jobs used to hire world-class players and build this company, this fascinating company called Apple. By end of this video, tune in there until the end, where I'll be telling you exactly the number one mistake that people are making as they're hiring new employees into their organization. Let's start with number 1, which is do not compromise. What does that mean? It means that when you're looking for an employee with a particular skill set and you feel like, oh, I can manage with this, do not compromise. Start and make sure, idealize and find the ideal candidate for what you're trying to do. So do not compromise. Number 2 is hire for passion and talent. Look for people who have passion, who has life, right? For example, there are so many people in this life. We all, when we were born, we had the hunger, we had the excitement, we had the passion for life. But there are some people in this world who learned how to not be passionate, who don't have hunger. They just want to live their life. They just want to do anything. They just want to do the minimal stuff. Don't hire those people. Those people are going to pull you down, pull your company down, because they are not excited. They are not passionate about work. They are just for the paycheck. They just want the paycheck. Don't hire people. So hire for passion and talent. And there are people, and by the way, don't feel bad about those people. They know there are other things in life they are really passionate about. Let them find that, let them do that, not for your company, right? Don't waste your time, waste their time. Moving on to the third thing, look for diversity. So when Steve Jobs hired, he looked for diversity. If you have an option to hire from different cultures, not just because there is some document, it's from the US, some document says you should have diversity option. Like hire somebody from African American communities, somebody who's Caucasian, somebody from India, somebody from Yugoslavia, somebody from Russia, somebody from Ukraine, somebody from different part of the world. You could build a company with a global outlook. If you could build a company with like different people from Jamaica or Japan, people from different cultures, create a diversity of thinking. And what happens is your thinking will radically improve because of that. The questions that you ask, the innovations that you come up with will become world-class. Why? Because you're bringing all the different thinking from different elements. That's the third step. And the fourth step is use a challenging hiring process. And I want to talk about this towards the end about what is a special thing about this challenging process. You need to come up with a challenging process that represents the job that they are getting into. Before they get into the job, they need to get a preview of how the job is like. Make it really difficult for them to actually do the interview itself. Not just the actual interview, but the steps involved, the things that they need to do. For example, you ask them to create a video of what they want, why we should hire them. And when you ask them to record a video and you could tell them it should be less than 3 minutes. And if they do it more than 3 minutes, disqualify them, for example. Right? And if it's 3 minutes, look for presence, for creativity, for passion, for the things that they want to share, and ask them to send it to an email and tell them to do certain things and put the subject line on a specific way. Give them way too many instructions. That is extremely difficult for people to follow. And if they follow that instruction, and you could filter them, and then also in the interview process, make sure that interview for values, for culture, for match of value as a person. So make the interview process to be really complicated. Not unnecessarily complicated, but really complicated enough, and give them a representation of what they need to be doing. If you're hiring for a specialized skill, ask them to do that specialized skill for one day and show the result and see how good they are. Ask them, do a death race. We did the death race long time ago with several companies. What we do is we get 3 people to do the same thing. And then whoever is the best, fastest, and most efficient, we'll hire them. And they will have to do it in a controlled environment, physically being present there. Even if they are virtual, they could come into that office, do it virtually with 3 or 5 people, and we'll hire 2 of them from there, and rest of them can go. But they could actually do that. So simulate the work environment. Don't sugarcoat. Don't make it friendly so that they get in. That's not what we want. We want to make sure that you show them exactly what they're doing and even more. So if they're not ready, let them go. Find the right person. Again, going back to the idea of don't compromise. Moving to the next one, which is passion about work. If they are not passionate about working, they are not passionate about being successful, they are not passionate about growing, they are going to destroy your company. What it means is we are not looking for people who are doing their minimal stuff and going. We are not looking for them. You are there for that. I'm kidding. But But the point is, the idea is to find those people who are willing to go the extra mile, people who have the ambition, the drive to be successful, want to be known, want to create something as for their legacy. Somebody who's passionate about creating something fascinating, creating a fascinating career. Those are the people Steve Jobs looked for. That's what he did. And the final thing that you do, and after that, I'll be sharing with you the number one mistakes that people make. But before that, let me finish this point, which is hire for the big picture. If you look at a candidate and you feel like, oh my God, this candidate is good, we could manage with that. Then all of a sudden you're compromising. You are not hiring for the big picture. Steve Jobs, when he hired, we hired for the big picture. He knew that this company is going to be big. It's going to be huge. So he needed to figure out a way to hire for the big picture. So you look at the biggest picture of the company and hire for that people. And if you are giving a position to somebody, make sure that they are worthy of that position. So make sure that you hire for the biggest picture. And finally, what's the biggest mistake people make when they are hiring is not to represent the difficulty of the job in advance. Not to show them not to show them the difficulty of the things that they are supposed to be doing. So what happens is, people will come into the job, they're like, it's so easy. When they come into the job, the first thing you tell them is, and I'll do another video on how to orient somebody into a business, but the first thing that you tell them is tell them you are an average person. Even if they are highly competent, tell them you are an average person who need to learn how to be in this phenomenal culture, so that they will bring their best to do it. If you're like, oh my gosh, you are the best candidate ever, all of a sudden you undersold the importance of the job, and they're like, oh, then I don't need to work hard anymore. And they are going with their productivity low. They're starting in the company with low productivity, which is the number one mistake that people do by congratulating, oh, you're the best in the world. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. There are so many employees who told me that, right? I don't want that mistake to be made to other people, so that they'll be like, oh, I can just I don't need to do anything because this employer already thinks I'm great. Oh my gosh, I don't need to work. I just show up with my good makeup and good clothes, and then they'll be happy. No, you should tell them. In fact, if you could break their confidence a little bit, do that and tell them, here you have to perform a lot in order for you to succeed. Are you committed to doing that? Because if you're not committed to doing and bringing your best into this, it's probably you might not succeed. It's possible that you might not succeed. So bring your best to do it and go from there. That's my topic. So essentially, do not compromise. Hire for passion. Look for diversity. Use a challenging hiring process. Find people who are passionate about work and hire for big picture. I'll see you another day with another fascinating topic to grow and scale your business so that you could have more profit and more success and more revenue in your business. See you next time.